how it was in the EIS and all that, but the campus was always supposed to be open to the public, which is really exciting, and all the 2.5 acres of open space and or more.
Right.
And the last meeting, I heard that at 10 p.m. it will close, so that Islanders wouldn't be allowed to move through the open public campus and following kind of a parks rule or something such. And I just wanted to get a feeling for that more. I mean, obviously there'll be people working later, they have to show ID, or how does that work?
If they're walking through, that's
Yeah.
one thing, but if somebody's sitting on the bench or out in the Meadows area, we're gonna ask your question. So it's not that they can't walk through, people are still gonna be out and about, especially in the summer, we understand that. So it's more if somebody's out sitting in the middle of the meadows with music on, it's more of a safety, and we're following really a lot of the parks guidelines. So.
Yeah, different parks have different rules. Most people don't know that parks close at night. Even Central Park closes at night. There are no gates.
I know.
You don't get arrested if you're
Yeah,
there.
I know, I'm just curious,
Yeah,
small
but
island.
the city, this is actually in the zoning.
Okay.
The actual hours are in the zoning.
I think Larry, yeah.
Yeah, and from a city planning perspective, I think they tried to hit a kind of a midpoint. Most public spaces, whether they're parks or privately operated public spaces, which is not, close at sunset. So in the summer, they actually close fairly early. So I think my thought from city planning's perspective, they actually thought this was a lot by requiring us to keep it open until 10. I think Central Park closes at midnight or something like that, but there's almost all parks have those rules. I'll bet even South Point has,
South Point has a huge gate, so I think
Like
that's
because it's
Presidents can't go down
because it's
there.
operated by the state,
Yeah, the state, right.
And we definitely understand that people are gonna be out walking around, that's not an issue. It's where, people are camping out or, we wanna make sure the safety of the
Hanging
campsite.
out, loitering, Can't pitch in a tent.
Yeah, I mean, we could very well
I
have.
see a grill going, I know there's something going on.
I'm there. There could very likely be a public event that happens that doesn't get out until 10:30 or 11. So.
Right.
A concert or something like that.
And things like that, we will have a process in place for permits within those, so we know, so the security staff will know who's authorized, who's not, and what's going on, so we're putting those processes in place now, so.
Is there bicycles going through?
There will be, I mean, it's not very strict, I mean, people are gonna ride, it's more of the grass areas, you can stay on the sidewalk areas, and so the grass areas we wanna protect, so. If we see you doing a wheelie across the campus lawn, I might have to talk to you.
It occurs to me that if the 4th of July fireworks are in the East River this year, the campus is going to be primo viewing area.
It's going to be fenced in.
It's unfortunately still, that's going to be the last week of our construction.
That's right.
It's
That's
July.
There's gonna be a lot
Yeah,
more.
we-
Thought of that.
Yeah.
But it's something to think about.
Next year.
Following
Yeah.
year. Next year.
Yeah.
Unless they move the location.
We said no, sure.
Yeah, that's right.
Will there be city bike docking station on the campus? Any discussions about that? No discussions, or you don't want it there?
We have not had discussions about that. Our understanding is city is not yet ready to come onto Roosevelt Island.
No, got those votes. Other questions?
I'm gonna just kind of tag team on some of these,
Sure.
sticking with,
Of course.
campus-y things, physical campus. I cannot recall, are dogs allowed to live in the residential building and or visit the campus?
So if it's a furnished apartment that the students are renting, they are not allowed to have
Okay.
pets. If it is a faculty, staff who are renting an empty apartment, a non-furnished, then they're allowed to have a pet.
And how many empties were there again, non-furnished?
There are 16 apartments. The top 2 floors are unfurnished, and the other 22 floors are furnished for students. So the lion's share. Roughly of there are about 500 student beds and about
Yeah.
35 or 40 non-student beds. 50 non-student beds.
And this kind of touches on the whole environmental waste question that some of the community has. And you guys are amazing at the energy part of it, and we're just trying to get our head around the non-energy part of it, which is everything from dog droppings to composting. So you're gonna have a big recycle, and you'll probably look for a waste hauler that can combine efforts, as you mentioned, for both related and for a city, that they wouldn't be using two different kind of haulers, so that condenses your movement of trucks and waste. Are you guys going to compost? I know that the cafe was gonna squish everything and
So we have the dehydrator,
Yeah.
for the cafe.
Yeah,
I've not committed to composting. I am looking at that option of what it would take
that'd be
and
great.
where we could put it.
Yeah.
We may not be able to do it day one, but it may be something we will do a little bit down the road. So,
That would be great. I know they're rolling out, brown bins in different neighborhoods in Brooklyn, and they're kind of working their way through, but that's about 40% of the waste in New York City is food waste. So you could really take care of that. And we're trying to expand the compost program.
I'm eager to test the dehydrator. I did a gray water system. I worked
Okay.
on those. I've never done a dehydrator.
Yeah.
So I'm curious to how it works, and so I will be right there with the guys learning how to use it. So.
And I've heard a couple of things, but I'm not knowledgeable. I almost rely more on SWAB, the Solid Waste Advisory Board that the Manhattan Borough President has, because they have so many very, very smart people that know all of this stuff. But I've heard different things about how once it's squished and has the liquid part, how that goes down the tubing, and DEP has very special feelings about the kind of, I don't know, liquid sludgy stuff. I don't know anything that I just said exactly, but it'd be great to know that you're talking to experts about that, and I know the borough president has a lot of expertise in that area.
I will definitely, we had a conversation once before, and I'll reach out to them as we get closer, and, again, our goal is to minimize any type of waste on the campus, so, the dehydration system, the wet waste, if you will, from that, I know goes into a holding tank, and then it kind of like a scrub system.
Yeah, yeah,
So, it filters, if you will, so,
yeah. See, with all that property and the need for, mulch and fertilizer and soil, you can just kind of turn it all around, but it's all about space and handling it and management, and all, I understand that. And then when you had that wonderful Groove Star catering, a very bombastic and interesting presentation, we kind of spoke about waste, like the plastic bags and the straws, and it's very bare bones, bottom, low hanging fruit, but there didn't seem to be an understanding or an acceptance of that level, worried more about price point, which I can understand, but are those conversations gonna continue?
I'm actually working, they've assigned their vice president of operations, so I'm working with them.
Oh, good.
So we're looking at all the aspects of the cafe operation now. So we started our initial meetings, setting menus and price points, and now we're going into materials and looking at cost and what can we do to reduce the waste.
Yeah, thank you, I really appreciate that. I feel like the community's a little bit more vulnerable, being waterlogged, if you will. Things end up in our waterways, and it's not just Cornell Tech, it's just the whole island, and the clean, keeping the waters clean.
I just want to say,
Yeah.
I think these are all really great points, and I think these are things that we are, as a university, and if you are familiar with the Campus Significa and student activism, and
Yes.
sort of
Yeah.
the consolidation of thinking around environmental studies
Yeah.
that Cornell wants to be a leader in, we want to be a leader in this stuff. Whether we will be day one, I think is a question.
Yeah.
But I think as this develops, and we figure out more ways to do that, I think we're going to see pressure, but sort of conversations, not just from the community heading out, but from our student body and from our faculty and others who really want to push Cornell into the forefront of this thing. We're certainly supportive of all that.
No, that's obvious, and I heard so much about energy, and it
Yeah.
was really exciting and really, ahead of the curve and great. And so that's why I was just curious about how that trickles down, and I had trouble understanding who's reporting to who. So you've got a co-location building, is that the bridge?
The bridge.
The
yeah.
bridge.
Right.
the co-location building, and that is Forest City.
Yes,
You occupy a third.
yes, but we're the landlord for the whole site.
Yeah, and so is it Forest City is a landlord, or?
But so it's complicated, the city owns the site, but we have a
Yes.
99-year lease, so we are the landlord for any parcel that we
Yeah.
have invited a third-party developer to develop, whether that's the hotel or the Ridge Building,
Mhm.
we're the landlord for that, right?
We
So
being Cornell.
we
Tech.
being Cornell Tech.
Okay.
Now, they in turn lease out interior spaces to various different
Like
firms,
Two
whether-
Sigma.
Exactly, whether it's for commercial purposes or retail
Mhm.
purposes, they are the landlord, but we hold the master lease.
Okay, and so then, who, the retail leaseholders and the corporations, like the Two Sigma Investment Data Mining Group Company Corporation, who do they have to, report to on their waste practices and their management? You know, that, I'm trying to figure out that, and is
So
it all?
that would follow to me. So right
Okay,
now, about a month ago, I started having bi-weekly meetings with each group. So Related
Okay,
and Four Cities Management Group, we've been meeting, we're starting to look at operations, sanitation, recycling, those things have come up. That's where we agreed to go into a combined RFP
that's
to
great.
reduce it. So, and we're looking at all aspects of that, we're looking at any type of, whether it's energy, our goal is to help each other out to make sure that we are meeting the goals of the island to reduce waste and traffic and, make sure we have a robust, recycling program. So,
Yeah, no, I really appreciate that, and it's just now that congratulations, that kind of construction phase is
Almost done.
almost,
Right.
so it's very exciting to be at that point, and now it becomes really operational. What's going on, who's reporting to who, and who's in charge, and,
I will continually meet with, our partners, continuously. Even once we get operation, I will have, bi-weekly meetings, and then we'll probably go to a monthly, but we will continuously meet. I've met the chief engineer of both of the buildings, so Related, and, Forest City, they have hired their chief engineers. So we already know who's going to be running the operations there. I met the VPs, for the overall general managers for the buildings also.
and they continuously will report to you.
Yeah, I wouldn't say they report to me, but we meet. I make sure they are in compliance with what we're setting as baselines. So everyone understands that energy conservation is a priority in recycling and sanitation. So they all understand that. We talk about it continuously.
And our relationship is with NYC Compost Big Reuse. The residents are giving their banana peel scraps, food scraps every Saturday at the farmer's market, and it's going right across under the Queensboro Bridge on the Long Island City side and being processed back into soil and coming right back. So it's a very small footprint, and there's also another company called Avid Waste that deals with organics, as you explore.